they had a debt of 13,000 crores, which means that daily interest was 3 crores. If you build a good product, you positioned yourself well, that's not gonna last.
You moved to a different city. How did you got evolved over the time?
I don't know, I think my wife can give you a better answer. Career was never about what I wanted to do. Career was always about how can we support dad. I also remember that as a big turning point in my life because...
What do you see today as an investor in a startup founder when they are pitching to you while they're in B2B industry?
You can't treat any job as too small for you. So for me, the key word that I look for is
B2B companies in India, be it health tech, fintech, supply chain, sustainability, are growing a lot. With so many AI features coming in the market, infra companies coming in the market, global companies are coming in India, and Indian companies going global. So today we have Shiven Tandon, principal at July Ventures, enabling lot of B2B companies from pre-seed to Series A rounds and helping them grow from lot many small companies to larger companies. Welcome, Shiven.
Thank you, Rishav. Thank you for having me here.
First, I will start with these very interesting questions. I read that you have written around 40 plus articles around economy, finance, so many other things. Like it got published also so many places. What made you start doing that?
I think I always had the itch to write. It's kind of in my blood because my mother is a writer. She's written 7 books. And I remember making a WordPress blog at the age of 25, but I never published even a single piece. And when COVID happened, I was kind of in between things. I had sold the company that I was running right before COVID, and I was yet to figure out my next thing. So it was the perfect time to start writing. So I started writing regularly. First I was writing weekly. Then when my articles became more detail oriented, I started writing fortnightly. And it lasted for about 2 years till COVID was behind us and work had picked up again.
Obviously, there are so many interesting things which I discovered about you. But before that, because since now you're into investing journey, before that you joined or worked with your family business, worked on the several other sectors also. If you can tell us your transformational journey, कि like आप कहाँ से पढ़े थे, from where did you started working, how you ended up being a principal in a VC firm, because this is very up and down kind of a journey which I see.
Right. I think like everybody's life journey, my journey is unique in its own way. I grew up in Chandigarh, which is a beautiful city. If you've not visited, you must.
I did.
I went to a Catholic school, which was an all-boys school for 11 years. Then after that, I went to boarding school in Andhra Pradesh. After that, I started doing CA. So my early part of my career was all about supporting my dad. My dad has been able to build a great entrepreneurial journey with a big business group which operated in various verticals. So career was never about what I wanted to do. Career was always about how can we support dad because he's doing so many things. So picked up CA because he was a CA. There was no other angle to do CA. Personally, I wanted to be an athlete. That was my journey, but it was not the right decision at the time for various reasons.
And this was year?
2008 is when I did my 12th boards.
Okay.
So that's when my college or post school started. So I did CA. After CA, I was quite sure that my career should not be in accounting, tax and audit. I wanted to be in more, at that time, so I thought, more forward-looking things than, as an auditor, you're more backward-looking and you try to see where things went wrong. So that's when I moved to the second business in our family, which was a stockbroking entity. So my dad set up one of the first stockbroking firms of Chandigarh. And I worked in that firm for about 6 years after my CA articleship. After that, I got into insurance broking. And that for me, at the age of roughly 27-8, was that I wanted to run my own P&L. When I was in stockbroking, I started out as a trader, reading charts, running derivative strategies, doing fundamental analysis. So my first learning of investing came in that age span of 21 to 28 when I was in that firm. And then when I went to insurance broking, the single purview was that I wanted to know what it felt to lead a team. I wanted to know how you run a P&L, how you grow a business, how you do sales. And the only business in the family which had a leadership vacuum was the insurance broking business. So I got into that. That was a very interesting journey, and all that I had learned in investing really helped me. So I started writing actually then. I used to write a quarterly report to the board of the insurance broking firm, which had 3 families as investors. And writing that over and over, in one of the reports I wrote that we should exit this business because insurance has moved from a small scale relationship play to a tech enabled play with deep product insight. I wrote this in end 2019. And in Feb 2020 is when we signed a term sheet to sell that business. And then COVID hit, and then I started writing the blog, which you asked about earlier. So we sold the insurance. Then around the same time, as a family, we wanted to exit the business, which was our largest business. It was a BPO company. And I was asked to run that mandate, to find a buyer, to run diligence, to negotiate with the buyer in question and so on. That was a huge learning experience for me. I would say that's where I really understood how deal making happens, how difficult transactions with so many different stakeholders, how do you run that, how do you deal with lawyers, etc. I also remember that as a big turning point in my life because that's where I felt like my dad saw me as a complete professional. Before that, it was always ki check this out and I will verify it. But at that time, it became like if you've read it, I will sign it, and it was such a big chunk of family net worth. So that was great. Then I got, once that was sold, which was very good for the family, I started consulting. I started consulting startups. I went back to the CA firm as a partner, did some audit work again, helped some startups raise capital, ran buy-side mandates. And in that journey, I met July Ventures. I was pitching some startups to them. I actually made 2 pitches to them. And they told me in turn that we are looking for someone with your skill set. Why don't you join us? So it started as a consulting exercise and then it became full time.
Very interesting. But working with your father, like in like हमारे साथ क्या होता है कि like mostly in Baniya family and Punjabi families, most of the Gujarati families, people study and if they have a family business, they join most of the time, most of the majority of the time. Calculation हम मेरे घर में तो ये बोला गया था कि जितने पढ़ाई पे लगा रहे हैं उतने का इक्विवेलेंट अगर जॉब लग गया तो यू डू द जॉब, उससे कम का लगा तो डू द फैमिली बिजनेस. बट बाई द टाइम मैं ग्रेजुएट हुआ तो फैमिली बिजनेस नॉट इन दैट गुड शेप कि माई फादर विल टेल मी कि वो है. कोरोना भी आने लगा था. व्हाट वाज डिफिकल्टी, और ऐसा क्या ऐसा होता है ना कि मतलब फैमिली बिजनेस ये बोलते हैं कि पापा ने जो बोल दिया बेटे को वो करना पड़ता है, ये दैट इज देयर एक्चुअली. बट व्हेन यू वर वर्किंग विद योर फादर, मतलब ऐसा क्या था कि जिसमें यू एंजॉयड अ लॉट, व्हिच अनॉयड यू अ लॉट, व्हिच माइट से कि चलो मुझे फ्रीडम नहीं मिल रही है.
So putting me on the spot on the camera, I'll start by saying that I am incredibly lucky. I have the best father in the world. I have enjoyed working with him a lot. I even enjoy the times when I got yelled at. Now when I look back, I didn't enjoy it then because I feel like they become turning points of when you introspect and maybe a few months later you realize why that happened. So I think the part that I enjoyed the most was when I would have a sort of a review / discussion with him where I was asked to do something. And what I learned was that if he's asked me to, let's say, go water the plant, I need to do more than just water the plant. Because sometimes if you take that example, when I come back, he would ask me that, are the leaves drying? Now, if I have not kept my eyes and ears open, then I don't know. So if he's asked me, like I'll give you a real example that in my first week of working at the stockbroking firm, he told me, I want you to learn every function of the depository. So that means that how does KYC happen? How does a delivery instruction slip get filled and executed on the platform of NSDL and CDSL? So I think what I learned and really enjoyed was him showing me that to truly be a business owner, there is no function that you are allowed to not know.
Correct.
So that is my greatest learning. Maybe what would irritate me was when I felt I was ready for a bigger responsibility, but he didn't think I was. But I think that's a part of youth, because you're always exuberant about that. हाँ मैं कर सकता हूँ. Why should I not get to do it?
ये हमें बाद में समझ में आता है.
ये हमें बाद में समझ में आता है. So I think that's
very interesting. But now, and in between, before joining, you also work with HSIIDC.
Yes.
It's some government body.
Yes.
As an independent director.
Yes.
While I think you moved out from the family business after that, right? When you were writing, also got into writing that time, that particular journey. And before starting consulting, what was that period like? What is that actually? First of all, like me as an individual, I came to know for the first time.
Yeah.
And what are things you used to look after, and what thing you observed during that time?
HSIIDC is Haryana state's largest PSU. So it's a state PSU the way, let's say, Bharat Petroleum is a central PSU. HSIIDC is an infrastructure and industrial development corporation of the state of Haryana. So any infra project, or to develop townships, to develop industrial estates, comes under the purview of HSIIDC. They had a huge role to play in building what we know today as Gurgaon. So when Gurgaon starts, one of the first offices on the right side is the HSIIDC office. They are now building a new industrial estate in a city called Kharkhoda, where Maruti is building its largest plant after Manesar.
So they work with DLF then?
No, so DLF actually seeks out plots from them, because they are the town and country planner. So they will take a piece of land, acquire a piece of land from, say, farmers, and then they will do the town and country planning, cut it into plots. Then someone like a DLF, a Loda or a Shobha Realty would come and say that I want to pick up 12 acres.
Got it.
And then through an auction process on the HSIIDC portal, they will buy that land. So my role there was, I was an independent director. So I would attend board meetings. I would be part of board subcommittees as well. What I learned from there was that how do you take decisions of astronomical scale. Like, just to give you an example, the balance sheet size of HSIIDC is 40,000 crores. And when I joined the firm, joined the board, they had a debt of 13,000 crores, which means that daily interest was 3 crores. Every day interest. So if your accountant feels that ये payment कल कर देंगे, you lost 3 crores to the bank. Okay. The scale of it was just overwhelming. Like, I was part of conversations that how are policies made so on a highway you can have a wayside amenity facility. So if someone buys a plot, what percentage can be used for, say, a petrol pump? What percentage can be used for a restaurant?
Okay.
So amazing learning experience. I served at the board for 5 years.
Super interesting. But now, since you're working at a VC arm, the completely entire different thing from running business, being in a board of a government entity, and now investing in startups, जो कि बहुत नए होते हैं, immature होते हैं, और I would say कि बहुत जज्बा भी होता है. But now, what do you see today as a investor in a startup founder when they are pitching to you while they're in B2B industry? Like, let's take, it's been 2 years since you're working in July Ventures.
Almost 3.
Almost 3 years. Let's take before this AI wave came and after AI wave came. What is that 60 seconds to 3 minutes kind of a thing which you observe in a founder when you start talking?
Okay. I'm not sure 60 seconds or 3 minutes does justice, but like I said, my foundational learning in business is that as the business owner, as the business leader, you can't treat any job as too small for you. So for me, the key word that I look for is diligence. That's my favorite word in investing. If I come across a founder who I believe has diligently thought about what they want to do, why they want to do, there is a sense of honesty about them. I feel it is totally okay to say that I don't know about this, or I don't know how this will play out in 1 year or 2 years, because who does, right? Future kaun dekh raha hai. So I think I look for, honestly, I just look for a diligent founder who comes across as an honorable person, as an honest person. I think those three keywords.
Interesting. Any recent investment or any recent investment you want to talk about where you see that this company is doing well, where you invested in, and you liked working with the founder? Any one or two companies you want to name?
There's quite a few. We've been lucky as a firm. I think we've got a very good set of companies in our portfolio and very good set of founders. If I had to name a few, one of the firm's first investments, when even I was not there, but I worked with the founder a lot, is a company called Borderless. Borderless started out to allow Indians to invest in US equities. And they were, so there's an LRS money that every year you can spend $250,000. You can spend that money abroad, send that money abroad. Now more and more people are using that to invest abroad. So Borderless was one of the first companies that enabled this. So you went to their platform, you made your account, you did your KYC, and then you followed the LRS process of filing, and you can invest. So you can buy stock in Google, Tesla, whatever you want. They did this via a B2B2C channel where they would work with brokers who wanted to enable foreign markets for their clientele. So I thought it was a very smart move. Now, about a year back, the founder started feeling that this is fine, but a lot of people who are sending money or are investing money abroad are doing it for a purpose. They're not just doing it purely for alpha as an investor. So a lot of times these investors want to take that money into a US bank account and, let's say, spend it when they're on vacation, or use it to fund their child's education and so on. And then he felt that Borderless's next step should be to enable a multi-currency savings account with a debit card for spends. So then he went and was able to sign DBS Bank to have a 6 currencies multi-currency account provided to Borderless clientele. And now he's also working on a payment structure with stablecoin architecture to on-ramp and off-ramp and move money quickly between anywhere to anywhere in the world. So I think an incredibly high caliber founder. The product, in my view, is very, very good. So very lucky to be part of that journey with him. Another founder I would like to talk about is a company called Matchlog. So Matchlog is a very unique company. They are in the business of container efficiency. So any kind of import, export happens in a container. And these containers move via ships from one border to the other, mostly via sea. And if you think about an import-export journey, the container in an import reaches the port, and then from the port moves to the importer's premises, gets de-stuffed there. Then the empty container moves back. So the truck in question is carrying an empty container back to the port. And when an export happens, and a truck goes to the port, picks up an empty container, takes it to the exporter, stuffs it, and takes it back. So what Matchlog did was that they understood that there is one empty run in every import and export. So they built a platform which aggregates all the runs happening for the geographies that they picked, and they enabled for reuse without coming to port. So if you're a truck who has de-stuffed a container, say 500 kilometers from the border, and you go to the Matchlock platform and say, I have an empty container, can you give me a load from here to, for example, the Mumbai port, JNPT port? So they will find you another order in the close by premises of where you are. And on the other hand, if you have a load and you are 500 kilometers from the port and you are saying, I need a container, and you go to Matchlock, Matchlock will say that, say 30 kilometers from where you are right now, I have a yard. Go to my yard, pick up the container, I will charge you X and take the container to port. So you save 400-500 kilometers to go to the port and pick up an empty container. So with this, they have scaled really well. They are now scaling to Singapore as well. They were thinking about scaling to the Middle East, but that is now on pause because of the war that we are in. But yeah, again, incredible founding team, incredibly diligent, very, very fun to work with. And then we have a new company we invested in just a few months back. They are called Care5. Care5 is in the business of financing insurance receivables at hospitals.
Okay.
And they also provide a software platform to these hospitals to ensure that the insurance claims that they file get approved at a higher rate of approval. So the filing process is more thorough with the app that with the software that Care5 provides. They also do one more thing. They enable hospitals to do an early checkout. So what that means is that you would know that if you've had experience at a hospital, even when you have a cashless policy, it takes anything between 4 to 10 hours for your approval to come.
Exactly.
So you're just sitting in the hospital waiting for approval to come. You can't go home. It's pissing off for you. It's pissing off for the hospital because they can't use that bed for the next patient. So what these guys do is they convert that into a loan, and they allow you to check out instantly in 15 minutes. So the hospitals love them, the customer love them. So very interesting company.
Super interesting. You told about three founders, three companies solving different problems, very deep level of problems, like where people usually face the problems but might not get so much deep into solving it. Upper level wala problem sab mein solve ho raha hai. In these three founders, like, what did you find one thing which was very common and which you loved the most, which you think that they will be able to run a company for next 5 years, 10 years, with anything happens, be it anything?
I think domain expertise is one for sure. That is common across all three of them. Then I think all of them just like they really want to do the work. What I mean by that is like, how can you be, say, a cricketer if you don't like being in the sun?
Correct.
If you don't like playing for 4 hours, 5 hours. So like they don't hide from the work, and that is not only appreciable, it's inspiring on a daily basis. So I think domain expertise and the attitude that I will do this. So maybe these two things.
But now today, if someone is pitching to you, like as you said, obviously how diligent the founder is, how domain expertise, other things like, but nowadays, like obviously people are learning very fast via AI, people are building very fast via AI, and we have seen that people are more towards that. What's your GTM? How you will sell? How you're going to enter the market? Because building is not a moat now. That has been changed. Like we have in B2B, the major problem which I used to see in the market before 2021-22, before COVID, was building. People were not able to build products. And people who were building products, they were getting money and were able to scale. But today, building is not a mode for people nowadays. What do you see today, like when they're coming? Because we have knowledge everywhere. We can build anything in terms of scaling, in terms of how much functional they are, in terms of how team is very good. What do you see now actually? Because now the investing pattern has changed, I believe.
Very interesting question. I want to ensure that I give it the right kind of thought. Okay, So few things that we look for, at least like in my mental model, I love to see these things. First is that have you positioned yourself? So I believe that the word that we forget a lot in business is positioning. Business is all about picking up a lane and positioning yourself such that you capture some value in that lane, right? Have you positioned yourself that you are able to capture value efficiently and that value can be large enough? So that is one. Two is in like you said, that building is not so much a moat anymore and so on. We as a firm, we love to see that you're able to pick up a positioning where you have access to proprietary data. Like for me, Matchlog's genius is not just that they will be enabling for container efficiency, which is good for the environment, which is also good for the shipping line, is good for the transporter in question, for the importer exporter in question. That all is fine. That is like you say, surface level value that is getting created. But if you look at the deeper value that is getting created, they have access to container movement data in the country. Who has that? Like on a market level, like a shipping line will not have the data of another shipping line. They are working with all the shipping lines, right? So we love to see positioning such that you have access to proprietary data, because if you look at the foundational models which everybody is using to build their AI capability on the tool side or whatever, those tools for the most part have access to public data. But any data which is privy to an organization and is the asset of that organization, or which can be continually captured, which is not necessarily in the public domain, it is in the enterprise domain and in the transactions domain. If you have access to that data, I think that is a moat. Then the third thing, I wouldn't say the moat, but since your question was what do you look for when you're seeing a new founder, is GTM velocity.
Exactly.
For us, we believe that if you build a good product, you positioned yourself well, that's not going to last, because the pace of things is much faster than it was 15 years back. So if you can pick up your market and run fast, like don't do a walk, like do a sprint and just sell, optimize, improve your product, enhance your capability, sell again. So I think these things, and another layer that I can say is that pure tech is getting harder to invest in. There needs to be some level of high switching cost or some level of service component, consulting component, which is just hard for pure tech to achieve. So some amalgamation or pick and choose from
all this.
So
but in this only, like one more thing which is coming a lot, like this VCs are also facing this particular thing, like specifically the ones which are like, say suppose, be it in consumer B2C and in B2B, be it like healthcare, infra companies, climate tech, fintech. For them, adding AI is not necessary everywhere. But you might be receiving so many pitch decks or so many pitches these days, people are adding AI where things are not required. So how do you validate कि इस वाले particular industry or sector में AI was needed, AI is not needed, and is it okay to add AI to enhance the productivity of the particular industry or the platform? जैसे for example Matchlog में हो गया for example कि वो AI से कुछ कर पाएंगे predict, borderless में हो गया कि चलो AI से उसमें मेरे को लगता नहीं क्या हो पाएगा in terms of operational level. बैकएंड लेवल पे चलो एवरीवन इज ऑप्टिमाइजिंग वाई आई कंटेंट बनाने के लिए, ऑपरेशंस, कस्टमर सपोर्ट, आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट दैट पर्टिकुलर पार्ट, द कोर बिजनेस जिससे उसको रेवेन्यू आता है, उसमें पीपल आर एडिंग एआई जस्ट बिकॉज कि उनको लग रहा है कि फाउंडर्स आर थिंकिंग कि वीसीज आर गेटिंग अट्रैक्टेड, दिस इज अट्रैक्टिंग मनी. And in B2B, what I realized, in everywhere you might not need to add AI. There are few businesses which can work without AI also in the front facing operations level, जो core product है. How do you identify कि यहाँ पर चाहिए, यहाँ पर नहीं चाहिए?
I think very basic thinking, being very honest. does it solve a big need? Does it solve a big problem? By solving that problem, do you increase the throughput of your product, of your business? Sorry, do you enhance the customer satisfaction? Like I'm talking very first principles because it is a broad question. I don't know for sure. Like if you see it from a lens of that we are seeing new deals and most everything has some AI angle to it, then how is it that we are choosing? I'd say that the firm that I work at, the partner pool has done a good job of building a very detailed sector, subsector thesis.
Okay.
So, like just few days back, I got a call from an investment banker I know, and they said that we've sent you a deal since you do fintech and you do sustainability at the intersection of fintech and sustainability. So I like, okay, I saw the deal and I said, oh, this is not in our thesis. So I said that they said that how is this not in your thesis? This is fintech and sustainability. I said no, we have subsector and subsector thesis, and we continually update them. So I just feel that the firm that I work at is the diligence that goes into this is quite high. So the filtration of what we see, whether we're interested in it or not, is relatively easier than just seeing anything on a plain canvas.
Okay, so it will be like if anyone is sending you a deck
Yeah.
or any pitch, you will see कि पहले चलो सेक्टर है कि नहीं B2B fintech, then उसका भी सब सेक्टर एंड
Yeah.
विल सी कि उसका भी बना हुआ है
Yeah.
बाइफर्केशन.
Yes.
मान लेते हैं फॉर एग्जांपल बैंकिंग APIs में काम नहीं करते होंगे फॉर एग्जांपल,
Yeah.
हम पेमेंट APIs में काम करेंगे B2B में.
Yeah, so it's in that level of detail.
In that level of detailing.
Yeah, so for example, in finance, we will have say 7 subsectors, which
Okay.
will be payments, core banking, let's say insurance, wealth tech, banking infra rails, and so on. Like that's the mother thesis, right? Now within that, so if you pick up insurance, so it might be, do you do a insurer, which is the insurance manufacturer?
Yeah.
Do you do an insurance distribution company like a broker
Okay.
or an agent? Or a corporate agent actually, or do you do someone who's building underwriting AI, or do you do claim settlement AI? So that's what I mean, like there's a subsector, then there's a subsector, and then within that we even have themes that if something touches this theme, we will at least look at it.
बहुत क्लियर बना हुआ है मतलब ये.
Yes, very detailed.
एंड इसी में अगर जब भी कोई आता है तो इट बिकम्स वेरी इजी फॉर एनीवन इन द कंपनी आई थिंक
Yeah.
कि वो देख लेगा कि ये 5 अगर 4 लेवल है, 4 लेवल में मैच हुआ है, बात कर लो.
Yeah, so matlab, see, because the partners of the firm have rich experience, they've worked in large companies, they have been investors for 15-20 plus years at an average between them. They have built processes such that any deal that we see is logged into our system. You can even go back in our system and see a deal that we saw in 2022. Which month? What did we feel? Did we reject it? Did we explore it and then reject it? So it's very diligent. The internal system is very, very thorough.
One question which you may share the scenario, you may not, it's just yes or no kind of a thing. Any particular company which you might have evaluated, then you saw that company is doing good. It happens in everyone's life actually. But वो बहुत अच्छा किए, but then you didn't got the opportunity to invest in that company. वो ऐसा हुआ आपके साथ? Anything happened with you? Yes or no you can say. इसमें
Yeah, obviously. Like I wanted to buy Under Armour stock in 2012, but I didn't have access. Borderless was not there at the time.
So this particular, I came to know Borderless during the time I was about to invest in a company called company Estonia में थी, and I was investing only वो 3 to 4 lakh because वो उसके नीचे LRS भरना नहीं पड़ता है. But still, I ended up investing क्योंकि इतना पेपर वर्क था, इतना कुछ था, नहीं कर पाया मैं. And that was the time I was discovering companies की which enable, क्योंकि आप listed में तो कर सकते हो आराम से, unlisted में you cannot do, and it was in Estonia, Europe, and it was that kind of a thing. So
it's hard.
It's
LRS
hard.
is hard.
LRS is very hard actually.
Yeah.
So this can be one particular, I think this can become a one particular episode for me, LRS, जो ये border race करती है. Interesting. So you came to Bangalore from Chandigarh, na? And you moved from city. Like you must be seeing businesses over there. Startups are also there.
Yes.
How do you see, like, as a city, you changed yourself as an individual, you moved to a different city. How did you got evolved over the time?
That's a loaded question. And so I moved a year back. I joined July Ventures in July of 2023. And I moved only in March last year. How I think I've changed over the last 1 year, I don't know. I think my wife can give you a better answer. But what I will say is that I came here to further my pursuit of being the best investor I can be, and I think I have improved since I came. My learning in investing started from public markets, from incredibly large companies, stable cash flows, and now I'm learning to evaluate the business and its potential and the founder and his or her potential. Just like I gave the example of cricket, right? Like you can't say I want to be the best batsman in the world and then say मुझे कोई Yorker और bouncer नहीं डालेगा. So you have to, if you want to be the best investor you can be, it's important that you are able to see the thing holistically. And in that journey, I think coming from Chandigarh to Bangalore, seeing one business environment there, and seeing a completely different business environment here, I think is just flavors to me trying to be the best I can be.
Exactly. And वो एक और चीज़ है कि चंडीगढ़ is like a very peaceful, slow city.
It's not slow, but yeah, peaceful, yes.
Slow हाँ मतलब slow नहीं है. मेरे को लगता था, मैं गया था, मेरे को slow city लगती थी मतलब.
You must have gone pre-COVID.
नहीं, पोस्ट कोविड ही गया हूँ. और एक और चीज़ था, people say कि वो रिटायरमेंट के बाद लोग वहाँ पर बहुत रहते हैं.
So that's a bias. I'll tell you why. Because when the city was built, like the city was built post-independence. Chandigarh is 70 years young. It's not a traditional city like a Bangalore or a Delhi, like which were there even 400 years back or something. So Chandigarh was constructed as from a barren piece of land, and when it was constructed, it had places which were given to army officers, homes that were given to army officers who had retired. So that reputation has kind of carried that it's the retirement capital, but it's not. I think Chandigarh is an incredibly lively city. It has a thriving business community, lot of manufacturing hubs in the outskirts of Chandigarh, on the Himachal side, Punjab side, Haryana side. And I think retail does really well in Chandigarh. Chandigarh is a hub of lawyers in the country. If you study the data of the Supreme Court, Chandigarh, the Punjab and Haryana High Court, which is based in Chandigarh, has sent so many judges and chief justices to the Supreme Court of India. So Chandigarh in its own right is an unbelievable place to be in, and even founders are coming up whenever I go there, and even when I was there, I try to meet a few. There are accelerators that are helping them come up. There are a few venture funds as well who are there in Chandigarh, 2 or 3 that I know of, and some founders have even gotten great exits from Chandigarh that I know. A lot of the founders that we see in the city as well, like I know one of the Jumbo Tail founders is from Chandigarh. So there's like, I am in love with the city, so I'll only say good things.
No, every city has good and bad both.
Yeah.
But obviously that's your birthplace, and obviously it will be like my birthplace is not that close to my heart due to different reasons.
It will be. Give it a few years.
Due to different reasons, over the time I have to change my hat and plan to move to the other city. I also wanted to live in that city.
Yeah.
I wanted to work with my parents. Or I wanted to spend more time in the city actually. But now when I go, I just come back very soon. That due to different things. But yeah, but over the years, like when you go back to your city like Chandigarh and you being in Bangalore, जो ये बहुत traffic है, and you see मतलब multiple things in your change. So what is one thing which you do first while you go back your home? Because it's been a long time you have stayed at home.
Yeah.
Because I moved out from my home when I was 18. You moved out probably after a long time. That you worked over there.
Yeah.
But now when you grow up in a city for more than 20-25 years, I believe, and उस पे वापस जाते तो एक अलग ही लगाव रहता है. As compared to you leave early.
Yeah, I agree.
Constructive years नहीं रहते वहाँ पर. मेरे constructive years वहाँ थे ही नहीं. तो what is one thing which you do first?
When I go to Chandigarh? I think home.
एलांटे मॉल नहीं जाते हो?
I go home. So I am very lucky. I have a big family. So I am one of 3 brothers. My older brother is a startup founder in Chandigarh. He runs a B2B software company. And my younger brother is a lawyer. So I have my 2 bhabis, I have 2 nieces, I have my parents. I have some close friends that I grew up with. So it's not that you go to Chandigarh and you go to a certain place to eat or to have coffee. ऐसा नहीं है. You just go home, you go for the people.
Exactly, and that's the beauty of most of the Punjabis and Baniya family कि उनके families बहुत बड़ी है.
Yeah.
घर वालों से
No, so your surname is Agarwal, right? So you have the most Agarwal bhavans in the country. It's bigger than any hotel. So I have incredible respect for Baniyas, man. Like you need to learn from them. Business कैसे करते हैं and how to reach. So you call a Baniya today and you say कि मेरे को लागोस में कोई बंदा चाहिए. वो आपको अपने फैमिली के ट्री में 3 लिंक्स में आपको लागोस में कनेक्शन दिला देगा. दिस क्वालिटी इज देयर इन बनियास.
बस मेरे यहाँ पर नहीं है साइड किसी में. मेरे में करवा दूंगी. Interesting.
So Rishav, this has been a very interesting conversation. Before we go, I will turn the tables and I will ask the question. So you are an accomplished young man. You moved to Bangalore. You've been able to set up a company. You serve corporates. You are an accomplished podcaster. You told me earlier that you've done 50 plus episodes now. So let me ask you this: what do the next 3 years look for you?
आप इन्वेस्टर वाला क्वेश्चन पूछ दिया मेरे. So this was same question which investor used to ask me in 2021. उस समय तो मुझे बोलना पड़ता था because investors को तो बोलना ही पड़ता है. But now actually I don't know, मतलब I will be very frank, I don't know कि 3 साल बाद क्या होगा. मुझे बस I feel कि next 1 year or I say 6 months, 3 months what I'm gonna do. I've started setting up short-term goals more rather than long-term goals in my life. Because I don't know, life is very unpredictable now. But the short-term goals accompany all together for the long-term goals which I realized over the time. क्योंकि it was for me also it was very learning process. पहले मुझे लगता था कि 4 साल बाद I will do this thing, but that never happened. But when I started doing things कि 3 महीने बाद I want to do this, it started happen.
So tell me, 3 महीने भी बताओ, 12 महीने भी बताओ.
For example, when we last 1 year, when we wanted to take an office, I thought कि this particular angle will scale a lot. Like podcasting piece, I want to scale a lot. I want to do 50 episodes. I did. This year I am manifesting that I will cross 100 plus episode. That's my goal. That's for this upcoming 9 months. That is there. That is one small example. Another example is that until this particular year, I want to work with growing companies and mid-sized companies. Now we are going to approach more of established enterprise companies. We work with more of the VC companies. That is happening now. So when I started setting a short-term goal कि 3 महीने बाद, 6 महीने बाद, 12 महीने बाद, that is happening or not happening, the percentage is 50-60%. But when I think कि ये साल में पूरा ये कर ले तो 2 साल बाद मैं ये करूँगा, 3 साल बाद वो मतलब लगता है बहुत लंबा हो जा रहा है मेरे लिए. Which I realized over the time कि let's accomplish, and this all accumulate and end up to a long-term goal. कि I wanted to 2021 में I should think no, I don't know anyone. When I came to Bangalore, I didn't know anyone, but started meeting all the people. Then 25, then I looked back, then so many people connected. That was a long-term goal which I thought in 21 कि लोग किससे मिलना है, which I realized. अब I don't know whether it is the right way of doing it, wrong way of doing it, but short-term goals which I usually prefer nowadays.
Very interesting. I'll just say one thing, since we are now both in Bangalore but not born in Bangalore, this is a beautiful quality about the social culture of Bangalore, that you can be an outsider and you can meet people and they will meet you well.
Exactly.
So that is a compliment to the city.
People are very welcoming in terms of, because over here when I came to the city in 23, when I came to HSR first time, 22 maybe I came, I think, but 23 was the first time when I was sitting in this 17th main road only in the Starbucks, which is very famous Starbucks. There was two people who were talking, and someone was VC, and one was founder, and I overheard the conversation. When I was going, I just said hi. They said, and I run a company. They said, okay, we sit. So they made me sad. They talked about me. Now they are my good friends. So it was very new for me. Means it was not so common. I thought कि लोगों से ऐसे randomly बात करना, किसी के conversation jump करना is not a right thing. So that time I realized how you approach people, it matters a lot rather than your attitude, how humble, honest you are. उनके साथ सबको ढंग से बात करो, लोग बात करेंगे. अगर आप उल्टा पुल्टे बात कर रहे हो या if you're not honest with yourself and another person, then it becomes very difficult.
Right.
So one last thing which I would ask you. Today as a startup founder, if someone is starting very new, what is one thing which they need to keep in mind, apart from everything which you said, which might lead them to make a larger company, or may not be a larger company, but a better individual?
Don't die. सही बोल रहा हूँ.
Correct.
Like sometimes we get stuck in quote on quote ambition कि मुझे इतना बड़ा राउंड करना है, मुझे इस लेबल ऑफ VC से पैसा रेज करना है, मुझे इस कूल ट्रेंड के विद इन कोई कंपनी बनानी है. So I'd say I'm a fan of Warren Buffett. That's where I read my first investing books. So one of my favorite Buffett teachings is that you live via your inner scorecard, not via an outer scorecard. तो जो तुम्हें लगता है कि ये ठीक है और that gives joy to your heart, that's what you build rather than showing to people what you think they want to see. If you apply that to business, don't build your business for the galleries कि जो लोग देख रहे हैं उनको क्या दिखाना है. Build your business on core fundamentals, and उसका मतलब ही है कि मरना नहीं है. बिजनेस ही वो होता है जो एक पर्टिकुलर कैपिटल इन्वेस्टमेंट स्टेज के बाद एटलीस्ट कोर इकोनॉमिक्स पे वो मेक सेंस करता है. सो आई थिंक दैट्स इफ यू फोकस ऑन दैट एंड डोंट गेट स्टक इन द शो बेस ऑफ इट, eventually you will be successful for sure.
Very deep level of thought and answer, क्योंकि the reason being this is where I also think कि startup मरना नहीं चाहिए, चाहे कुछ भी हो. With this, thank you so much. It was amazing speaking with you.
Likewise.
2.5 महीने में हम लोग फाइनली ये कर बैठे.
It took its time, but I enjoyed the conversation. Thank you, Rishav.